I'm Leo and welcome to Tonic Studios. Today I'm going to be showing you a make using the Love You a Latte Coffee Collection stamp set and dies. And when I first saw these dies, there were a couple of things that really appealed to me and the stamp set, and that was definitely the punny sentiments. I do love a good sentiment pun, and I have built my make around that today. So this is what I'm going to be showing you, this card that I have put together for you here. I'm going to show you some of the more difficult elements and how to put those together. So the first thing that I've done is using the dies, I've actually cut a couple of pieces. So you'll see that I have them here. And I'm going to be using the Latte art pieces on here. So if I just pop those off so you can see those separately. So you have two pieces for this. You have your outside piece and then your paper piecing set in the middle. And I've cut two of these from craft cardstock, and these are going to build the basis of what I'm putting together. So just using some glue, I'm just going to stick those together first of all. I'm just going to put a couple of little dots of glue onto the back of here. You never want to put too much of this on, you don't want it to ooze out of the side of your project, so less is definitely more when you're doing this. And I like to make sure that I get glue on a couple of the inner pieces as well, just to make sure that it really anchors it firmly onto the base piece for me. And I'm just going to line the two pieces up and stick those together like so. Once I'm happy that they're all lined up nicely, I'm just going to press them together and hold them for a second for that glue to take. If you do get a bit of glue oozage in the middle, it's actually not a problem. We're going to be using some paper piecing to do this, so it is actually going to get covered up. It's a great one if you do make a couple of mistakes. So I've done a second die cut as well, which you can see here in just some plain white cardstock, and I've done exactly the same thing. I've cut my outside piece first and then the inner piece as well. And using the bits that I've popped out of here, I'm then going to place those into the center of the pieces that I've cut in craft cardstock. Again, just using some glue on the back. Just a couple of little light dots on the back of here. And then all of the pieces that came out of the white section, I'm going to place them back into the craft piece to make up our latte art that I'm going to use on the top of my gorgeous cup of coffee on the front of my card. I do like pun sentiments, as I said, because they are a bit more versatile. You can send those to, the one that I'm using today is I Love You a Latte. And yes, you could send that to the love of your life, but you could probably also get away with sending it to your best friend or anyone else that you quite like. Because it's not a full romantic I love you, I like that you can use that in a couple of different ways. And if you're anything like me, I do like to send cards to all of my friends and family at various occasions, and even when it's not an occasion as well. And just a little hello, I'm thinking of you, or I love you a latte, just helps to brighten someone's day. So again, just piecing all of these pieces together, and you'll see that it starts to build up your latte art to go on the top of your coffee. And because I've used the craft and white cardstocks here, hopefully it really does look like someone has poured me a lovely heart on top of my coffee. So I just continue to fill all of those pieces in until it was all filled as it is on the front of my card here. Some of the other sentiments and pieces that I've used then, you'll notice I've done some ink brushing around the edge of my card just to give it a little bit of definition here. And I've done this using a blending brush and just a simple ink pad. And the easiest way that I find to do this is just to very lightly tap your blending brush onto the surface of your ink pad, and then taking your cardstock, just lightly brush that around the edge. And you can add as much or as little as you want. And I would always say to go lighter to start off with, and you can always add that little bit more later on if you want a darker colour. The other way that you can do this is taking the blending brush and putting your card down on the surface. You can actually just do some nice circular motions along the edge. And that gives you more of a sort of buffed look rather than a harsh line, if you prefer it to look that way. And I literally just did all that around the edge of my piece of craft cardstock that you can see on here. I did something very similar then with the sentiment piece as well. So I did some stamping for this using the I Love You a Latte sentiments, and you can see they are just in here on the stamp set. So the You a Latte is actually a separate stamp, and there's a couple of different pieces that you can put with this. So I went with I love you a latte, but there is also I miss you a latte as well. So you can change up the sentiment and the meaning depending on who it is that you're sending this to. And all I did was just grab my 2 stamps from here. I've got a stamping block, so I'm just going to lift up my 2 stamps. I'm actually going to put them separately, so I am going to stamp this in 2 different sections. I'm not going to do it all in one go. And I'm just going to use the same ink colour. It goes nicely with the cardstock that I'm using. So I've inked up one side first of all. I'm just going to pop that straight down onto my card and lift it straight back up, and there I have You a Latte, and now I need to add my I love at the top. So again, I'm just going to tap my stamp onto my ink pad, and then because you can see through the block and the stamp, you can make sure you've got these nicely lined up together, and then just pop that down over the top so that it all comes together as one sentiment. I then used some of the dies to cut this out, and I found this nice medallion piece in the die set, which I thought would look really nice for cutting out this particular sentiment. So all I've done is just pop this around my sentiment to centre it like so, and then run that through my die cutting machine. And I have one just here that I've previously done. And again, because I wanted to make sure that this popped up on the front of my card, I have also inked around the edge of this as well, just so it gives a bit of definition between the 2 layers of craft cardstock that I have here. So again, just using my blender brush, I'm just going to add some ink to the edge. I'm doing it slightly differently this time because I want a more strong kind of ink around the edge. So I'm actually brushing it right onto the very edge first of all. And it helps to give like a nice dark piece of ink around the edge first. And then once you've gone all the way around, you can then lightly brush some just onto the points of that medallion die cut. Again, it will just help to add a little bit of definition when you put your sentiment piece onto the front of your card. Just like so. And the reason I like this card, the sentiment, like I said, you could use it for friends or family, or you could send it to the love of your life as well if you wanted to. But it is such a simple sentiment that you could really make this for anyone. It definitely would work for masculine cards. I know we all struggle with making masculine cards, and you can just change the colorway and try different colors and tones. You could even put some different backing paper on this and really change up how the card looks to make it suit your recipient. So once I'd done that, I simply then put the card together just with a couple of layers behind it. So I've just gone with some very simple textured cardstock in the background. But as I said, you could absolutely use some patterned paper or something along those lines. And then lastly, I put in these 2 little bits of steam, which came from the die set. And this was a bit of a happy accident. When I first got the die set and pulled these all apart and then put them back together, I realised that when you put these 2 pieces together like this, they actually make a cute little heart. And I decided to go with that to work with my sentiment on the top of my card, and I just cut that out of vellum and popped it onto the top. I hope you've enjoyed that nice, simple make using this set. I thoroughly enjoyed putting this one together, and I can't wait to send this to someone that I love a latte. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like this video, drop some comments on what you would use this set for, and don't forget to tag us in your makes on social media as well. We love to see what you're doing with our products. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Happy crafting!